Hey, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday carry people. It's your boy, the Big Canucker, and today I have got a little bit of a new one. Now, that's actually, I would say it's new to me because, hey man, trying to keep this stuff going is pretty darn expensive. I ended up every time I head up to Calgary for my doctor's appointments, I have a look at our local Kijiji and our Facebook and stuff like that, and I kind of look for some pre-owned knives just to be able to support this channel and bring you guys new content. And this is one that I have been after for quite some time. Um, and I think this is an absolutely wonderful addition to my collection and something that I'm going to, I think, be able to shoot some videos about here. I want to recondition these scales here a little bit, inside too as well. By no means was this thing really beat up. It was, just your average Victorinox SwissChamp. There, I said it, and it's just needs a little bit of TLC. But I kind of want to give you my first impressions to go over it. I haven't had this very long. I've only had it for about a week, and it's been in my pocket. And I gotta say, she's a kind of maybe a smidge big for your front pocket, but still definitely doable. I mean, so far, my number one Victorinox that I like carrying around in my front pocket is the Fieldmaster. It gives me all the stuff that I really want, but this is something that is still going to, I think, might even take the place of the Fieldmaster. Get rid of it, get used to the being just a little bit bulkier. Now, this is an 8 level, 33 function Victorinox multi-tool, and it has got some wonderful things on it. And you know what? I think for what you get, these are actually priced quite right. And I paid well under half of what this thing is brand new. And but I appreciate the fella up in Calgary who decided that he wanted to part with it because his loss is my gain, and hopefully your gain too as well. And I mean, not necessarily a loss for the fella. I mean, he was very happy to get rid of it because he said it was just collecting dust. And we all know when those things collect dust, if we can give it a new life and a new home, that somebody will use it and dare I say love it, then we've benefited all of society. Holy cow, some high-browed ideals first thing in the morning. Okay, just to go over some items. So the height is she's 33 millimeters wide, high. The length is, I'm sorry, 33 millimeters wide, which is about an inch and a quarter. And lengthwise, she's 91 millimeters. So it's not the biggest, but it is, I do believe, the largest kind of multifunction tool. When you start to get into the bigger tools, you start to get into like the one-handed trekker and stuff like that, where you're getting into the real kind of full-size hunting knives. But it's still got some really nice items on here too as well. So let's go over them, okay? And now this, mind you, this still needs a little bit of reconditioning. All right, so you've got your two blades here too as well. You've got your small blade and you've got your large blade. And I'm going to say your large blade is probably, I'm going to say that is just a smidge under 3 inches. Yeah, say 2 3/4 inches. Still, it's effective. And as you can see, whoever had this did not use the small blade very much. There was some residue on here, some tape residue that I took off. And it looks like this one here has been sharpened a few times and got a little bit too close. So you can see here to the bottom, but I ended up touching it up because that's one thing. Even though I'm not fully reconditioning this blade, I got it. I was actually at the hotel. I went and picked it up, brought it back to the hotel, and I always carry my little Spyderco double stuff, and I also carry my Victorinox ceramic sharpener with the small ceramic on the one end, and then you got the little pull through end. That does a really good job on this too as well. So I just kind of ran through both of them, and she's touched up really nice. But really an excellent combination of the two blades. Okay, so what do we got next here? We have got, I don't know if I should leave these open. It's bound to cut myself, I suppose. All right. Okay, we've got a nail file, which is my other Victorinox. So she's a nail file. It's also a little bit of a metal saw. I don't think you're going to cut anything really super hardened metal with this. And I mean, you might do a little bit of a dent to it, but for the most part, you're cutting kind of very light gauge metal and mild steel with that. Here you can see you've got the file on one side that I can use is a fingernail file, fingernail cleaner, and a woods. You can also file some wood too as well. Okay, the next item here is really a fantastic um, item is the Victorinox wood saw. Wood saw. The teeth on here are the design on them is fantastic. It does a great job cutting wood, and you can cut through a 2x4 in short work with this saw. And I use this quite a bit with my whittling. The wood saws on my other Victorinox items. I'm heading out. I want to do a little bit of whittling. I find a dead branch laying there, kind of something real big. I can whittle it. I can cut it down with the saw, and I can cut down the shape too as well with the saw without too much fuss. And it goes through wood, especially fresh green wood, like a hot knife through butter. And you look at all the Victorinox tools that are out there, and I think we all have our preferences on what our must-haves are. And for me, a wood saw is definitely a must-have. I really enjoy using that tool, and I really enjoy um, having that tool handy if I need it. Okay, so what's next here is a ruler. So you've got on one side, you've got millimeters, the other side, you've got imperial, and it's also a fish scaler too as well. I haven't done a whole lot of fish scaling with the Victorinox, so I don't know how well it works. I do have all the fishing equipment, and I'm from northern Manitoba, where there's absolutely world-class fishing. And I haven't done since I moved out to Alberta about 10 years ago. I think I've only dipped a line one time, and it's a shame. And I think I got all the fishing stuff with me, and I've got a couple of reservoirs that I can go dip a line in. I think I will. It's such a relaxing hobby, and I think I might give this fish scaler a try this summer. Okay, so what do we got next? Here is another must-have is scissors. Man, oh man, do I ever use the scissors in my multi-tool a lot. Besides maybe the large blade, scissors are perhaps even the one that I use the most. They're so handy to have. I cut, they'll cut cardboard, they'll cut heavy paper, they'll cut threads and stuff like that. They do a wonderful job, and they've got a little bit of a spring. And these ones here have got some. Looks like the previous owner cut some tape with it, so there is some residue inside there, and I will clean that up. But as you can see, she's still a little bit sticky right now, but they're still usable, and a little bit of solvent will take care of that to sweet. Okay, next thing here is your little bit of a wrench. Now, or sorry, pliers. No, they're not as handy, I guess, I suppose, as like say a Leatherman or even the Victorinox Spirit or the Victorinox multi-tool. They're not those kind of caliber of pliers, but I did use them even the very first time I got this. I was actually in my hotel and I was whittling, and I built myself a little bit of a thumb guard, and it was some stretchy kind of tape material with some leather, and I pulled it off my thumb, and I went to put it back on my thumb, and I couldn't get it back on. So I actually used these to grip it, and I opened it up, grabbed it, and I pulled it on, and it was, it worked really well. Now, if you can see here, I'm not sure if you can see, so I'm just going to keep my notes open on my iPad. Inside there, if you open it quite a bit, you've actually got a wire cutters in there too as well. And yeah, so she's got some snippers in there too as well. They're not like super sharp like a set of side cutters, but they will do the job. I think up to around probably 14 gauge wire. Maybe you might even get some 12 with a couple of snips, but there is some wire cutters and pliers, and it's just a little handy tool to have for handiness sake. They're not going to be, you're not going to be plumbing with this particular set of pliers, but they will, when you do need a little small set of pliers, they're there. And they'd be there for like, I heard one fella who uses them to, his dog, once in a while they go for a walk, he gets a little tiny thorn in his paw. He could just pull out his Victorinox pliers and just, pop that out of the dog's paw. It'd be something like that, nothing that you're going to do any sort of real large manual labor. Okay, so now we've got the Phillips screwdriver here that'll fit the number 1 as well as the number 2 Phillips. The one thing about Victorinox tools is they're machined very well into precise. They're not sloppy at all. So if you've got a number 1 Phillips in there, this is machined well enough that it will fit in there, and it's also machined well enough that it'll fit it too. And it's got a 90-degree stop as well as a full out stop. And then we've got a tool here that I didn't think that I would use, but you know what? My eyesight is getting so bad that it'll be handy to have a little magnifying glass. I've also seen fellas, and I'm going to try it out myself this summer, is I'm going to start a fire with this. Just another means of having a fire too as well with you. And then of course we've got the other one here. You've got your kind of a little bit of a pry, a large flathead bottle opener, and then if you look in here, you've got a wire stripper as well as a little bit of a wire bender in there too as well. And then of course the Victorinox, the famous Victorinox can opener here. And then at the bottom you've got a medium-size flathead too as well. So, and I've also seen people take this, sharpen it up, and use it as their spoon gouge when they're whittling. So I mean, a lot of people do customize that, and you can see the stop on this is really still quite good. The spring on here, even though it's a little, I'm not going to say how old this is because I don't know, and I forgot to ask the guy when he got it, but based upon the tool set, I do believe this is the last iteration of the SwissChamp. So it's probably not, that old. I'm going to say maybe 5 years old. And the springs on them are still nice and tight. And everything on here is nice and tight too as well. And before we move to the back, let's have a look here. You've got your pen, which is neat. This is the first time that I've had a multi-tool with a pen in it. And it'll write just like this, or you can actually use it on the back here with your little hook. This is they call this a package hook, and there's all sorts of uses for this too as well. And if you want to know a lot of the uses for these things, there's a gentleman out there by the name of Felix Imler. Check out his channel. He is the master of Victorinox, and that just kind of falls in there. You close that like that, and then there you go. You're writing. So, all right. So you've got that. You've got a toothpick. Don't know if the guy used it, but I'm not gonna until I probably get myself a new one. And I don't often use these for my teeth, but they're just so handy to have for other things too as well. You need to maybe kind of get into crevice and clean. And of course, you've got the tweezers, which are surprisingly effective for pulling out slivers. My granddaughter had a little tiny sliver in her finger. It's just ever so cute. Thought her papa was gonna, when I pulled out my multi-tool here, it wasn't this one, it was my Fieldmaster, and she knows that's got a big knife on it, and her eyes got really big, and I said, no, sweetheart, I'm gonna use these. So she thought these were the cutest little things, and they were not very threatening, and we got the sliver out of her finger, and she was happy, and papa was the hero. Okay, so let's close that up. Now, this is also the first multi-tool that I've had a bottle opener, and I am going to actually try to open a bottle of wine with this. My wife drinks lots of wine. I'm not going to say she drinks too much wine, but she does drink lots of wine, and I'm going to give it a try. All right, so we've also got here a screw-in flat-headed eyeglass screwdriver that fits inside there, and it's just what a clever usage of that space inside there. Just very, very clever. And then a tool here, ta-da, a little straight pin. And there's another handy thing here to get out slivers too as well, and to, hit reset buttons on phones or stuff like that. Just handy. It's just really, really handy. I mean, there was a space there, and some engineer at Victorinox said, hey, let's put a little straight pin in there. Somebody said, why not? And Bob's your uncle. You've got another little tool, darn it. Okay, so let's put the rest of this stuff away here for a second. Well, we're going along here. And you can usually buy replacements like toothpicks and tweezers and all that stuff. Fairly inexpensive. It's hard to buy, I think, like one toothpick and stuff like that. I think you got to buy them in packs of 3, and they're, a couple dollars each. All right, so on the back here, of course, you saw that one already, which is the parcel hook. And you can, Felix Zimler has sharpened that, and he uses that in his whittling too as well. There is all sorts of things. I mean, I've had people use it. See, this one here sets pretty flat, but my other multi-tool the Fieldmaster, the way this sits back, it's a great little iPhone holder is what I've used it for. And the other thing that I've used this for is I've used this to tighten skate laces. Um, it hooks onto those laces and you can give them quite a good pull. All right, so let's knock that down and let's start over here. One of the most important things, and most people prefer to have on the back of their multi-tools, of course, is the awl. Now, the awl, you can use this for drilling holes in wood. It does a great job. It also is great for sewing canvas or leather. It's got this little sewing eye in there. And, eventually I will give you guys a demonstration on how to do that. It is quite a handy little process. Especially if you're a sailor or you're somebody who does a lot of working with leather. In a pinch, this will do a great job. Okay, so let's close that up here, and then let's see what we got next. Of course, we've got another little kind of a little pry bar as well as a little small straight um, screwdriver, and then we have got here. Let's see how I can get at that. Oh, lift open that. And a little chisel. This is believe me, this is a sharp little chisel. I actually sharpened this up here and stropped it on my little Spyderco double stuff on the ceramic, and then I just stropped it on my whittling strop, and it took a very, very keen edge. And if I had a piece of wood here, I'd do a little bit of chiseling, but I don't. And there we go. So some people consider this little eyelet tool. You can put a bigger eyelet on there if you want to, hang a little bit of a lanyard from there too as well. Now, I don't know, I forgot to count. They say that there's, 33 functions or so, medium pocket knife with 33 functions. And I don't think that I missed anything. The scales on here are, they call it an ABS or Celador, which is basically a fancy name for what an ABS is. Basically, it's a plastic, and I think I might have to get new scales for this, and they're not super expensive either, because it looks like this one here, you can't really tell. This one's got a little bit of a fine crack running through it, and if I polish it up and I can hardly notice that crack, I'll just probably keep it the same. But I will do a little bit of a reconditioning here, and I will shoot a video on how to polish this stuff up. But so far, I really, really like this SwissChamp, and hope you guys liked it too. So if you liked my look at this SwissChamp, and it's something that I would definitely recommend. If you're interested in pocket knives, you're interested in multi-tools, the SwissChamp is a whole lot of functionality in a very small package. Now, we say that it's a little bit big and bulky for your front pocket. Well, maybe in some people it is. I still will carry this in my front pocket. You can actually take this, and you can also get a little side to wear it on the side of on your belt, and a little pouch. You can use this in a backpack, and that's mostly where I probably will use it. I'll throw this in my little bag that I use to run about town. And from there, I will give you guys a longer term review on this. And I'll also shoot some videos on how to recondition these scales and just recondition the whole thing too as well. For however old this is, and it's got some use to it, it is still running tickety-boo, and it's still working absolutely perfectly. So now, if you like what you saw here, you like your look at this SwissChamp, please give me a thumbs up as well as a subscription. I'd appreciate it so much, guys. So thanks so much, and I want you to please keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.